I don't know when it started. The thoughts of her. It might have been during the quiet moments when my wife, Emily, and I sat on the couch watching reruns of old sitcoms. Or perhaps it was during those sleepless nights when I'd lie staring at the ceiling, my mind drifting to places I hadn't visited in years. Her name was Claire, and we dated for just 1 month, 16 years ago. But now, she's all I can think about. It's not like my life with Emily has been unhappy. We've been married for 11 years, and she's my rock. We met in grad school, both of us fresh off breakups and drowning in assignments. She made me laugh when I thought I couldn't, and I like to think I did the same for her. We built a life together, moved to the suburbs, and adopted a dog named Max. From the outside, we look like the perfect couple. But perfection, it's a strange thing. It doesn't account for the quiet discontent that creeps into your life when you least expect it. The first time Claire came back into my life, it wasn't through some dramatic reunion. It was an old photo. I was cleaning out my parents' attic, helping them declutter before they downsized, when I found a dusty shoebox filled with keepsakes. There, among ticket stubs and handwritten notes, was a picture of Claire and me. We were at a county fair, arms wrapped around each other, grinning like idiots. The sight of her hit me like a punch to the gut. Her auburn hair glinted in the sunlight, her green eyes sparkled with mischief, and her laugh, I could almost hear it. For a moment, I was 20 years old again, head over heels for the girl who seemed to understand me better than anyone ever had. I slipped the photo into my pocket and didn't mention it to Emily. That night, I lay awake, turning the memory over in my mind. Claire and I had met at a coffee shop, one of those serendipitous moments that feel like destiny. She was sketching in a notebook, her brow furrowed in concentration, and I couldn't help but strike up a conversation. One date turned into another, and for a month it was like living in a dream. But then she ended it, saying she needed to focus on her art, that she wasn't ready for anything serious. I was heartbroken, but life went on. Until now. As the weeks passed, thoughts of Claire became an obsession. I started looking her up online, scouring social media for any trace of her. It felt wrong, like I was betraying Emily, but I couldn't stop myself. Claire's accounts were mostly private, but I found a public art page where she posted her paintings. Her work was beautiful, just like I remembered. And there, in the comments, I saw a hint of her current life. She was living in Seattle and had an upcoming gallery show. I told myself it was harmless curiosity, but Emily noticed something was off. "You've been so distant lately," she said one evening as we ate dinner. Her voice was soft, but there was a sharp edge to her words. "Is everything okay?" "Yeah, just work stuff," I lied. Emily didn't press further, but the look in her eyes told me she didn't believe me. The gallery show was a month away. I told myself I wasn't going, that it would be absurd to fly across the country just to see someone I hadn't spoken to in 16 years. But as the date approached, I found excuses to justify it. "It's just a business trip," I told Emily, avoiding her gaze as I packed my suitcase. Seattle was rainy and gray, the kind of weather that suited my mood. The gallery was a small, intimate space tucked away in a bustling neighborhood. When I stepped inside, my heart raced. Her paintings lined the walls, vibrant and emotional, each one telling a story I longed to understand. And then I saw her. Claire was standing near one of her pieces, talking to a man who looked about our age. Her hair was shorter now, streaked with gray. But she was still the same Claire. My Claire. I froze, unsure of what to do. Part of me wanted to run, but another part wanted to stay, to talk to her, to see if the spark was still there. Claire saw me before I could decide. Her eyes widened in surprise, and then she smiled. "Mark," she said, her voice warm and familiar. "Hi, Claire," I managed to say, my throat dry. We talked for hours that night, catching up on everything and nothing. She told me about her art, her travels, and the man I'd seen her with, her husband. She seemed happy, genuinely happy, and it made me question everything. Why had I been holding on to this memory for so long? What was I even looking for? When I returned home, Emily was waiting for me. She didn't ask about the trip, but the tension between us was palpable. That night, I broke down and told her everything, about Claire, the gallery, and the feelings I couldn't shake. Emily listened quietly, her face a mix of hurt and understanding. When I finished, she said, "Mark, we all have what-ifs. But you have to choose to live in the present. Otherwise, what's the point?" Her words stuck with me. Over the next few months, I threw myself into our marriage, determined to make things right. It wasn't easy, but slowly, the distance between us began to close. And as I focused on the life we'd built together, the memory of Claire started to fade. Years later, I stumbled across another photo of Claire and me. This time, I didn't feel the same pang of longing. Instead, I felt gratitude for the love I'd shared with her, for the lessons she'd taught me, and for the life I'd chosen with Emily. Some memories are meant to stay in the past, where they belong.